Kicking off the week on Tesla Shorts Time, Daily, episode 511. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Today is June 15th, 2026. Here's what's kicking off the week in Tesla land. ABF Freight's order of 2 Tesla semis puts the first long-range electric trucks into California linehaul service, with routes extending to Reno. European regulators are questioning the safety data Tesla submitted for full self-driving approvals. Reuters and investigators flagged overstated collision and intervention rates in the filings used for EU approvals. Multiple national regulators have paused or re-examined the submissions as a result. Tesla has not responded publicly to the specific claims. The issue adds documentation overhead and potential delays to the staggered European rollout. Regulators evaluating supervised driver assistance systems face a basic measurement problem. The data they receive must reflect the same operating conditions the public will encounter. Tesla's European submissions reportedly mixed supervised miles with claims that implied lower intervention rates than the raw logs supported. When the gap surfaced, several national authorities paused further review rather than risk approving on incomplete evidence. The practical consequence is that every additional supervised mile now carries extra documentation overhead. Tesla must either narrow the dataset to only the cleanest segments or accept longer approval windows while it rebuilds the underlying safety case. Either path raises the cost of scaling the same software across borders. It is a function of traceable, auditable miles. Until the submission process itself is standardized, each new market adds a fixed compliance layer that competes with the marginal revenue from software subscriptions. Starlink ran advertisements during the UFC Freedom 250 event on Paramount+. The placement puts the satellite service in front of a large live sports audience. Tesla and SpaceX share overlapping brand exposure through this channel. The ad run comes as SpaceX continues scaling its user base. Viewers will see whether similar placements expand to other major broadcasts. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives released a note analyzing SpaceX's IPO effects. He described the debut pricing as a Goldilocks outcome that avoided draining capital from the broader tech trade. Ives highlighted continued AI infrastructure spending and named Palantir, Snowflake, and Datadog as data layer beneficiaries. The note also flagged hyperscaler cloud growth at Microsoft and Amazon. Investors will track whether the same capital rotation dynamic appears in Tesla's own valuation multiples. Tesla shares rose alongside broader market reaction to the US-Iran peace agreement. The move added roughly 1.5% to the stock on the day. Analysts attributed the gain to macro sentiment rather than any new EV demand signal. The price action shows how geopolitical headlines can still move the name even when fundamentals remain unchanged. Next earnings release will separate sentiment effects from delivery trends. While approval friction builds in Europe, Tesla is seeing concrete commercial traction for another vehicle in North America. ABF Freight purchased 2 Tesla semis to support its fleet operations. The trucks will handle line haul runs inside California and extend into Reno, Nevada, and additional locations. This marks one of the first documented fleet purchases for the semi in active commercial service. The move tests real-world economics on routes that mix highway and regional miles. Next data point to watch is any follow-on orders or performance metrics ABF shares after deployment. From trucks already hitting the road, we turn to a new passenger model now reaching customers on the other side of the world. Tesla started delivering the 6-seat Model Y-L in India at a starting price of approximately 62 lakh rupees. The vehicle targets buyers seeking larger family configurations in the premium segment. Initial units are reaching customers in major cities. The launch extends Tesla's footprint beyond the standard Model Y already on sale. Sales figures from the first quarter of deliveries will show whether the longer wheelbase variant gains traction. Stronger demand signals are also appearing in Tesla's largest single market. Tesla China posted its strongest month of 2026 with nearly 86,000 units in May. Volume rose 39% year over year and approaches a 1 million unit annualized run rate. European sales through May ran roughly 95,000 units ahead of the prior year. Q2 deliveries are tracking approximately 28% higher than last year. Volume growth at existing factories pairs with new capacity coming online elsewhere. First structural beams went up at the 5.2 million square foot Optimus Giga Texas North Campus site. The long-term output target remains 10 million units per year, though low volume production timing is still listed as summer 2026 or later. The AI-5 chip is slated to debut on Optimus before vehicles. Energy storage is also scaling up with a new dedicated factory. Exterior construction is complete at the Houston Megapack plant that reached a $200 million investment. Production is slated for late 2026. Combined with Lathrop and Giga Shanghai, total Megapack capacity will exceed 130 gigawatt hours per year. The new Mega Block unit packs 20 megawatt hours AC and claims 40% lower construction cost. Researchers tested new sodium-ion cells that reach full charge in 15 minutes while matching energy density of some current Tesla packs. The chemistry avoids lithium and cobalt supply constraints. Performance held steady across multiple fast charge cycles in lab conditions. The results add another potential path for lower-cost battery production. Tesla's own cell development teams will monitor whether sodium-ion reaches automotive-grade durability. Elon Musk stated SpaceX could reach $1 trillion in annual revenue by 2030. The projection follows the company's first trading day after its IPO. SpaceX closed that session at a roughly $2.1 trillion market capitalization. The revenue target assumes continued Starlink growth and new launch contracts. Tesla investors will watch how the two companies' capital needs interact over the next 4 years. While hardware capacity grows, software updates continue to iterate on autonomy features. The latest supervised FSD build includes on-screen messages such as, "Vehicle will pull over near destination." Reviewers logged 250 miles and called the version the strongest iteration yet for natural obstacle avoidance. The release cadence has compressed to roughly every 2 to 3 weeks. The same autonomy effort now has a published playbook for emergency situations. Tesla published a first responder interaction plan outlining procedures for police stops, collisions, and severe weather. The document covers SAE Level 4 operation protocols. It details how the vehicle will communicate with emergency personnel and when it will yield control. The plan is required for regulatory filings in multiple jurisdictions. On the competitive front, another company is delivering something Tesla once discussed but never shipped. Xiaomi introduced a portable charger that can top up an EV even when the owner is away from the vehicle. The device addresses a use case Tesla discussed years earlier but never brought to market. Xiaomi's version integrates with its own vehicle app ecosystem. The product highlights how competitors are filling gaps in the charging experience. Broader policy moves could also shape where Chinese-made Teslas can be sold. Canadian officials are evaluating import quotas on Chinese-made electric vehicles. The discussion follows a reported 40% rise in exports from Chinese manufacturers, including BYD and Tesla's Shanghai plant. Tesla vehicles built in China would fall under any new limits. The policy shift could affect pricing and availability for Canadian buyers. Industry groups are preparing submissions ahead of any formal rulemaking. Tomorrow, we'll be watching for any public clarification from Tesla on the European FSD data questions and the first performance metrics from ABF Freight's semi-routes. That covers it for today's Tesla developments. TSLA closed at $406.43, up $7.28, 1.8%. Share this episode with a fellow Tesla enthusiast if you found it useful, and subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's episode. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. Thanks for being here. And before you go, this show is part of the NARA Network, a family of daily podcasts covering tech, science, markets, and more. If you enjoyed today's episode, give OmniView a listen, a balanced daily world news briefing that takes every side seriously. You can explore the whole lineup at naranetwork.com. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.